Greetings and welcome again to the United Hotspot. It is the night show here on your big, passionate show, rather channel that talks Manchester United. Now, today is Red Day. You know what? It's because we're coming home. We're coming home. Tell the world that we're coming home. Man United back at Old Trafford, where we do take on Fulham. My name is Webb, and it's always an honor and privilege to be here to talk about Manchester United. It's going to be an awesome 1 hour because there is a lot to discuss on Manchester United, from issues, of course, with to do with injured players. Again, the injury list doesn't stop. Rasmus Hojlund back on the sick bed. Well, it started bad for him. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks, according to the boss. We'll talk about him. But most importantly, how on earth are we going to cope without the hot firing striker tomorrow as we do welcome Fulham to Old Trafford? It's going to be an interesting one to look at. We'll have a proper press conference reaction. Erik Ten Hag spoke about a lot of things concerning Sir Jim and the team that's being set up, how he's confident that these people want to work with him. I love Erik Ten Hag's confidence. We'll talk about players who are linked away. There is so much than time can allow us to talk about. But the question for you, from me to you, and we are going to look at the Probable 11. I'll be displaying it for you here. My Probable 11, Erik Ten Hag's Probable 11. I'll try to think like myself, try to think like Erik Ten Hag, and you can support me as we build a squad without Rasmus Hojlund, Lisandro Martinez, and Luke Shaw. How on earth are we going to cope without those important players? Well, all that here on the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Welcome aboard. Let me know in the chat. Go live chat. First of all, smash that like. I like that people are liking the video. Well, keep smashing the like if you do. I like the live because, trust me, it is a pre-match day. We are back on Saturday. We are back on it for a Saturday game, and trust me, these are the best nights. Usually, these are the best nights of my life. It's only sad that there is bad news. Now, let's start off with that. Of course, I had to start with the bad news, but you probably heard of it now. By now, Rasmus Hojlund is confirmed to be injured. He's got a muscle injury that is going to keep him out for about 2 to 3 weeks, according to the boss, Erik Ten Hag. Now, that's not good at all. Because I mean, the guy has been on fire. Remember, he waited long. He came with his hunger, was injured, had to wait a few games. Then he comes, starts playing, struggles because of playing with selfish players, struggles and takes time to get his first Premier League goal. Then when the first one came, they kept coming. The floodgates were opened for, but he's now going back on the sick bed. Now, for 2 to 3 weeks, according to Erik Ten Hag, meaning he will miss about 4 games or thereabout. And Ten Hag seems to be calm. He says it's not a serious injury, but they don't want to risk with him. Of course, you cannot risk with your only striker, and this is why the issue that injury to Hojlund is, I think, one that is going to give us the clear picture of which players we need in the summer, and testament to why we need a backup striker for him. Remember, even Anthony Martial, who would probably be the obvious replacement, is also away trying to recover from a surgery. So it's a very difficult a moment for now for Erik Ten Hag, but he has got options, he believes, because in the press conference he said such injuries, whereas they are bad, they also give you an opportunity to give time to other players. Now we'll talk about who those other players are, who could come in and try to get the goals that we know Rasmus Hojlund has been beginning to score for fun. It's going to be a big ask for anyone to come in and fill that void. But yeah, that said, the game has got to go on, and yeah, we'll look at the lineup for Manchester United in a bit. But I need to emphasize a story I gave you in my earlier video today, in case you missed it. Mason Greenwood did hint to a few people, close friends, that he's open to a return to Manchester United. In fact, he said he would love to return to Manchester United. Mason Greenwood. For me, that has always been important because we can want him to come back. We can want him to come and play for United again. We as the fans and supporters of the club, yet the player doesn't want. But he has intimated to those close to him that he would love to return to Manchester United. And for me, that's the motivation he would need to come and be even more lethal than he ever was as a footballer. But let's go back to the injury talk and talk about, there's so many injuries. And guys, we need to get to the roots of this problem. Why are our players getting so injured? Whereas injuries are normal in football, and at times you can say, bad luck. The people who want to to watch football with faith say it's a curse. The Muslims say it's a curse of riba because we have a big debt from the Glazers. That's the curse of the debt and all. But guys, what exactly, realistically, let's think about things we can control, we can reason. Why on earth are we getting injuries after injuries? Now, there's lots of reasons this could be. Of course, the medical team was changed. We brought in a guy, an Arsenal, the former Arsenal guy, to come in and be in charge of the medical team. But for me, could it be, and we had issues before, players complaining before that Erik Ten Hag's demands and his training methods are a bit demanding, and maybe these players are too soft to cope with them, and that could be one of the reasons. Because muscle injuries usually are because you've been overworked, you've been strained most of the time, and we know that the style of Rasmus Hojlund, he's extremely physical. He runs a lot. He plays with a lot of energy, and perhaps you would understand when they say maybe he was overworked and Erik Ten Hag did not rest him probably enough, did not manage him, and that's why he probably tore a muscle or whatever it could have been. But we need to get to the root of the problem. Why are we getting these so many injuries? Are these players not fit enough for Erik Ten Hag's methods? Are they too intense for them? I remember Spurs players at some point under Pochettino were complaining about his methods because they were too intense for their liking. Are we having the same case with Erik Ten Hag? And could that be why we're having these injuries and to important players? Are some That is one. Could some players have come with injuries embedded? Hoyland, remember the first season arrival was injured when he had just arrived. Yes, whereas he scores goals, could he have come with an injury that could keep disturbing him? Again, I'm trying to just think out loud. Why do we get these injuries? But I remember I was watching an interview of Joe Cole with Obi, and he said partly why he thinks players get injured easily today is because they they put in a lot of work on match days, on Saturday, on a Sunday, during match days, yet during the whole week of training, they don't put in as much effort. So yeah, their body is not used to playing at the intensity with which they try to make it play when it comes to match day. So they end up getting so many injuries. That is something from a former player, Joe Cole. He said, but for them back then when they were still playing, the training was, I think, more intense than a match. Even John Terry said this, that by the time they went into matches, especially against certain opponents, they were just way too good for everyone because their training was extremely intense. At Man United, it was the case. At Jose Mourinho's Chelsea, now, could that be also a thing that players today a bit soft? They spend more time on social media within the week, so they come to train while they're protecting themselves. So they don't make their bodies work as much. Yet when they get to match days, they want to work 2 times harder. Yet when you're playing football, they used to tell us what you do during training is what you do during the match. That's why the training is there. But look at the injury and why I'm a bit concerned by these guys. Look at this. The number of games missed through injuries this season by several players at Man United. Tyrell Malaysia has missed 35 games. Amad Diallo missed 27. Remember, he returned and got injured after his loan spell. Mason Mount has missed 23 games and we're still counting. So is Malaysia, we're still counting. Lisandro Martinez has missed 22 games and we're still counting. Kobe Mainu has missed 17 games. He's back. Luke Shaw has missed 16 games and we are still counting. Anthony Martial has missed 12 games and we're still counting. Wan Bissaka has missed 10 games and we're still counting. Victor Lindelof has missed 10 games. Christian Eriksen has missed 8. Hoyland has missed 8 and we are still counting. Amrabat has missed 6. Maguire has missed 6. Johnny Evans has missed 5 and Rafael Varane has missed 5 games. Now, if you look at those games, these are so many games, and you notice that most of these players are first team players, potential starters, starters in the team. This is not good at all. There must be something we need to get, and I believe this is part of what Omar Berada and Sajim and his seniors team are going to try to look to solve. They should be asking themselves the questions: why do players get injured? Is it the facilities under which they are training that are causing them injuries? Well, Cristiano Ronaldo spoke about the lack of good facilities at Man United. But it's good that Sajim said that Carrington is not doing as bad as some of these, as Old Trafford mostly. So that's a bit of a concern. I needed to show you that those numbers are a bit scary, and it cannot be a coincidence. Even if teams really get injuries, but you can't have so many first team injuries in the same season like this. That it shows there is something you're not doing right, and we need to get to the bottom of it. For me, I cannot sit here and speculate. I can just try to imagine what could be the case, but it's good we've got able people now to come in and get to the bottom of it. Now, as again, I'll keep mixing it up. The preseason dates were announced, by the way. So we'll play Arsenal yet again in the United States on the 27th of July. On the 3rd of August, we'll play Liverpool in South Carolina. Oh, these are preseason tour dates. So the planning is going on for the preseason. So I think it was important just for you to take note of those, because usually I do these watch alongs in the night during preseason and most of you are sleeping. But yeah, I'll still be there to do those watch alongs, if I'm alive, God willing. So yeah, so I wanted to hint on that. Now let's go proper into the team. And yes, we've got a Fulham team coming. They're lying 12th on the log, and of course we are chasing a top four. Erik Ten Hag made it clear. He says, first of all, he's aligned with Sir Jim and Ineos. They talk every day. People are asking him whether the first interview of Sir Jim after being officially announced was a bit of a concern to him, and he was saying, come on, it's not the press conference. Me, I speak to him every day. We keep talking and we aligned and stuff like that. So, which is good. They are all both pushing in the same direction, which is good. But let's get into the team now, guys. And yeah, with Rasmus Hojlund, with all the injuries we have, what could be the probable lineup? And I'm going to look at about 3 scenarios. I will look at my probable lineup, what I think for me, if I were Erik Ten Hag, which players I would go for. Then I will look at Erik Ten Hag. I try to think like him because I think he can be a bit predictable. And we can see. So we are coming home. That's why we are in red there. Of course, I'm also in red. And these are our colors. So it's just to commemorate our return home. And the first game with the Mr. United official in charge, Sir Jim. So there you go. So this is what I think would be my preferred 11 if I were in charge. Obviously, I'm not, but if I were the one in charge, this is how for me I would assemble this team. So, and this is the only switch I would make. I'll explain it. I'll explain why. So, of course, in goal, Andre Onana. I think he has been consistent. He has tried to give us a few consecutive good games, which has been a rare thing. I think from the West Ham game, Wolves, West Ham, Aston Villa, I think he has been okay. He has been doing okay, even the game against Luton. So you feel like he's growing in the rhythm. Now, in the back line, whereas initially I would have wanted Amrabat to be there, I think there is Amrabat's levels must have dropped so bad that even a Lindelof who just returned from injury is considered ahead of him. So I think his levels must not be good at all, even for Erik Ten Hag. So Lindelof on the left, Rafael Varane in central defense, together with Johnny Evans. And of course, you might wonder why I would put Evans ahead of Harry Maguire. I think for a player who had such a beautiful game off the bench against Fulham, I think it's only right to reward them with a start in the next game if they are fit. That is one. But also, I think with the injuries we have and the gaps we have, I think you would expect, and the way Fulham plays high intensity, they are direct. Marco Silva is quite a stubborn manager. I expect that them to try and generate some bit of pressure on us. And that's why I think you want to have your most composed central defense. That's why for me, instead of going for energy and pace, I would go for experience and calmness. So, and without a doubt, Varane and Evans is way more calm than Varane and Maguire, or Maguire and Evans. So for me, I think because of the calmness, and I'm trying to relate this to the game against Liverpool, that famous goalless win. I call it goalless win on purpose because I still say for us at that point it was like a victory. That draw against Liverpool at Anfield when Varane was in the central defense with Evans. I feel they were so calm, and it's important if you've got a lot of loopholes up front. And for me, without Hojlund, who perhaps would have been keeping most of the Fulham team at bay, keeping them at home because of the threat he poses, and the fact that they are certainly going to come on the left and try to expose Lindelof or whoever Erik Ten Hag will start there. I think you need to have a central defensive partnership that won't panic even when they're exposed. So for me, I would go for Varane and Evans instead of Maguire. I'll keep first start Maguire on the bench. Then on the right, obviously, Diogo Dalot is the no-brainer. I think his levels we cannot even speak enough about them. Well, the last game wasn't his best, just like it wasn't for the entire team. But I think Dalot has earned the right to be one of the first names on the team sheet. So that's what my backline would be. Then in the middle, I would put Kobe Maino as a blocking midfielder, Casemiro as a blocking midfielder. So Maino on the left and Casemiro on the right. The reason why I would put Maino on the left is because his physique, his work rate, his game reading, it's easier for him to be here to support Lindelof. Because remember, Lindelof is going to be our weak link. The left back position is going to be our weakest link because it's not his natural position. I'm expecting Fulham to, in fact, in their game plan, they should be looking to force Lindelof into errors. So he will need the support of the holding midfielder close to him. If you put Casemiro there on this side, with the way Casemiro is a bit slow lately and a bit not yet comfortable or calm, I think it's easy for him to be forced into errors or unnecessary fouls, give away free kicks, or perhaps even concede early cards and stuff like that. So I think it's safer for Kobe to be the one playing close to Lindelof. If Erik Ten Hag goes for a proper 4-2-3-1, which I think he should go for. At times, Erik Ten Hag has assembled his team like this on paper, but when they start playing, they're actually like this, which I don't like because of these gaps here. This is too much space for Casemiro or for anyone holding midfielder in the Premier League. You're getting too exposed easily. So for me, I would go for a solid 4-2-3-1 if it were up to me, like that. So keep Maino on the left because with his energy, he's young, he's physical, he can support and cover all these, support Lindelof more comfortably. Then, of course, Casemiro on the right. Then Bruno in the number 10. Marcus Rashford as a false 9. Alejandro Garnacho goes to the left. And for me, this would be the opportunity for Amad Diallo to come in and start. Now, that for me would be the ideal. That for me is the ideal. That would be my preferred starting 11. And by the way, guys, you can also give me your opinion. And I'm seeing Anolina Riguma, good evening, Webb. Alfred Sende Webb. What causes these injuries at the club? You had an opportunity of visiting Carrington. Are we training well? Well, first of all, at Carrington has got no issues, and I think Carrington is okay, but maybe of course I did enter the gym, and these trainings are out of bounds. You are not really. The Carrington is a private space where you don't enter unless fans are not allowed to enter, and unless you're on an appointment and stuff. But the thing is, Carrington is okay. Even Sir Jim said this, but maybe the gym, maybe certain facilities in it are not good enough. And I'll go by what Cristiano Ronaldo said. He said the gym is the same as it was how many years ago in 2008 when he left. That's what he said. So maybe Carrington's issues at the gym and stuff like that. That's why he said it's easier. Jim said it's easier to sort Carrington. But yeah, so for me, Kenny Katuramu, Scotty for Rasmus, and Olina Liguma, we are so unfortunate this season with injuries. I think it's time for bench players to step up. That's what Erik Ten Hag was saying. It's time for opportunity. So for me, this is for me. I think for me, instead of Scott, and I'm going to bring in Scott like Kenny was saying, Scott for Rasmus. But for me, I would give Amad an opportunity because if you don't have a natural number 9, my justification for going for Amad to partner Rashford and Garnacho is Rashford in this case is going to be a false 9 because honestly Rashford does not have the patience to stay there as a number 9. So, and Rashford does not give you much running through the middle like Hojlund does. Hojlund makes good runs through the middle. I think several times we've seen when Bruno Fernandes is joining the defensive part, when he goes back to cover, Hojlund has run and come back and picked balls through the middle and stuff like that. That Rashford is not comfortable running through the middle. He's more comfortable flying from the flanks. My thinking is you put him there as a false 9 and you have both players on the flanks should be able should be mobile, so that we form that puzzle, because we know that Ahmad can come into those positions. So these three players up top, the Garnacho, Ahmad, Rashford, should be in position to comfortably keep switching all throughout the game. Now, this puzzle is what will threaten Fulham and keep them there, so that they don't really. You can make them. So then keep the two holding midfielders, Mainu and Casemiro, disciplined. Keep them disciplined, not committing forward a lot, because many times we've seen Mainu commit up front, and this is how Erik Ten Hag wants to play that. You play the guy, people close to the ball come and press, and so the movements in the middle are all over the place. Like at one point, this one is here, then so the puzzle is made in the middle. For me, this is what I'm saying. And Ten Hag likes putting the puzzle in the middle. Personally, I think the puzzle should be up top and keep the midfielders disciplined. Let Bruno, especially these two holding ones, keep them disciplined in their roles. Then let the puzzle be here. These four, this diamond. Let the puzzle be in that diamond. That's what I would think. But thinking for Erik Ten Hag, and now what the other option Erik Ten Hag would have, which most likely I think is what he will do in this game, is instead of having on Ahmad, he will bring on Scott McTominay to replace Bruno there, and Bruno goes wide. Because Bruno has played on the right before, whereas I don't like seeing him there, by the way. I never like it, but of course the circumstances we are in, we are managing a situation. And for me, I'm trying to think like Erik Ten Hag. This is his most likely choice, because any opportunity for Ten Hag to start Scott McTominay, he will pounce on it. We know that. I think he low-key celebrated when Hojlund got injured, like, oh, my Scott is starting. He will try to fix him somewhere. But of course, if you think about it, of course, there are people who feel like Scott, because of his goal-scoring instinct, he can start in number 10. Like that. A direct replacement for Hojlund. I'm not sure that is something we want to try now. I'm not sure it's something we can. I think Scott is better off running from behind. I think he comes from nowhere. I mean, if he's the number 9 and the target man, my thinking is he might not be able to score the goals he scores off the bench. If you're going to, I think he's better coming from nowhere, like he's as an invisible guy coming from. So for me, I think this is what Erik Ten Hag is likely to do. So we will instead have Rashford as the false 9. Bruno goes to the right. Garnacho goes to the left. Then Rashford false 9. Then McTominay in the number 10. That could be another option. Wouldn't be the worst. The only thing though is for me that this totally kills Bruno. So putting Bruno on the right is as good as him not being there. I feel like he does not give us enough when you limit him a lot, because if you put him on the right, you've completely restricted him in terms of his movements. The worst case, but also I've seen people trying to push a theory that Omari Fosun could be trusted. So Eric maintains the gist of his 11 and just replaces Hojlund with Fosun, the youngster. Because, like he has been saying, this is an opportunity to give all these players a chance, because he believes in this squad and the players he has. It's an opportunity to give all the other players a chance to show what they can do. So that could be the other option. Alfred Sende, the left wing, will play Antony, and left back Lindelof. Heights, but Ten Hag is stubborn. He will start Antony. That is the worst case scenario, and I'm going to get there. So there is also the option of him starting Fosun, because Fosun is the other natural number 9 we have now. He's the natural number 9 we have left on the team. So there is talk that he could start. Trust him. I sort of like a few things about Fosun. And the few minutes I've watched him play, I think he's got a work rate. I think he has got a work rate that I think is good for a forward and a Premier League forward. My only issue is his body size. I'm not sure that body size is good for if you're small like he is, you have got to be extremely smart, extremely smart. Now, is he? We've got no proper full game for us to be able to see that. But of course, we can only see that if he's given the opportunity. So I wouldn't mind if Fosun started by that, because for me, I'm for giving players chances. So this could be his chance, and he could take it away and run with it, because I've liked his work rate. The few games he has come off the bench. If you saw one of the goals he scored, which game? One of Hojlund's goals when Bruno, all these Garnachos were refusing to give Hojlund the ball, and this boy was fighting and fidgeting, and and grinding the ball until Hojlund also came in and squeezed it and forced it in the back of the net. So Fosun could be an option starting there, which I think it's okay. I think, in fact, I think Fosun starting here could be even better than starting Rashford there, because Rashford does not like playing as a number 9. He doesn't like it at all, for whichever reason. Now, the worst case scenario for Erik Ten Hag, like someone said, I forget who, the very worst scenario is going to be Ten Hag starting Anthony. And I was seeing media reports this week, probably yesterday or the day before, suggesting that Erik Ten Hag is backing Anthony despite his poor form. Now, this could be another opportunity for him to back him more and start him. I think that would be depressing. That would be the most depressing thing. Even if he turned out to be good and he scored a brace, it will still be depressing, I think, having to deal with it, seeing him start. So the beauty is there are options, but then it all goes down to the creativity of the manager. But of these options for me, of all these options for me, I would go for Ahmad starting. For me, my best option would be Ahmad starting. Whether I put Sim, Erik Ten Hag has said before that Ahmad can also play as a false 9. I don't care where he starts him, but for me, the best option for me would be this, Ahmad starting. Will he? Not with the Ten Hag that we all know. I also prefer Scott to be our last man. Okay, because Scott has scored goals. So you're saying you prefer Ahmad out, then Scott comes this. Yeah, of course Eric loves to play them. The midfield, the Erik Ten Hag's midfield is so confusing. On paper, they make it look like a 4-2-3-1, but they never play 4-2-3-1. They're all over the place. At times, it's like this, like they're like this. A 4-4-1-4-1. Actually, I think it deploys a 4-1-4-1 most of the times. The people who display the lineups are the wrong ones. This is how Erik Ten Hag plays: 4-1-4-1. That is Ten Hag's formation. This one just comes a bit to support. Even this one comes to support. But now this formation, this is for me, these two spaces here are the biggest problem of this formation. Casemiro here, this is a yellow card. This is another yellow card on this side, red. Done. Just do this. Keep the balance in the middle. Reduce the pressure on the back line, because they can't run. They are old. They can't run. This one is not natural, but Maino here, discipline, not going anywhere. Casemiro there, they will shield them enough. Let Bruno stay up front and cause trouble there. So we could try it with Scott McTominay as the final man leading the line. And again, it's an opportunity for us to see how he looks there, because I mean, he has shown that he can score goals. Whether he can do it from the number 9 position, again, there's only one way to find out, by us having the opportunity to see it. So that's where we are now. But there is also another option, and again, like for me, I keep saying, with the with a proper balanced midfield, I don't care who starts at the back. I feel like starting Amrabat on the left gives us more feet, gives us more legs, more passes, more football. That's what I feel. But I think Amrabat's levels have been too bad that Erik Ten Hag doesn't trust him for a long time now. Of course, this is the other option. Maguire could probably start ahead of Evans. But for me, the backline is not even the biggest issue for me. The backline's issues come when the midfield is poorly assembled. If you realize all the problems of our defenders are caused by here. Because one of the guys is not there to block the space, to block their space. That is why our problems start most of the time. So I will still go back to Ahmad starting. I'm for Ahmad starting personally. But you can give me again. So that said, that's a bit of the lineup situation. You can give me your prediction of the game. But regardless who starts, I think Fulham should be a team we can beat. Regardless who starts, Fulham is a team we should be able to beat and comfortably because we are home. This is the first game with Sir Jim in charge. Everyone should know that. So it's the psych. Usually, football is about being psyched up, being psyched. So for me, the psych should be on from these players and they should be able to put in their best shift and get us the W. It's all that we want. It's all that we want. I should have made this a call-in show, so that I pick your mind on several things. So there is a excuse me. So yeah, there is a story I've just seen today that again I've not just seen it because I even spoke about it earlier on. Casemiro and Saudi. Casemiro being 4 clubs from Saudi Arabia wanting Casemiro. I look at this squad. Let me even put it back. Excuse me. Oh goodness. I look at this squad, and Erik Ten Hag has been saying that we've got such a good squad that's developing. Now look at this squad, and by next season, by the start of the next season, these are players 1, 2, 3. There are question marks on this one. 4, 5. Now, people might have question marks on Evans, of course, because his contract will be out. There are question marks on this one. I think they triggered Lindelof's contract extension. He might be a bit safe. This one should be out. These are youngsters. So the ones who have kept farthest are the safe ones. Now, you look at the number of players 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 7 so far who we are almost certain will not be at United in the summer. Meaning, with the money now that we have after having a good last year, with the money we have, these are the replacements we need. That's one. That's one. And you can put here names if we like to. So I think we all agree here. We can put here Greenwood. Let me not look like I never went to class. How did I write a small? So Greenwood here. So Maino needs a partner, replacement for Casemiro. Who will this be? I'm for Joao Neves. By the way, he lost his mom, the Benfica boy, but he still played for Benfica against Toulouse. So Joao Neves here. Now, of course, in the defense, we spoke of Todibo. Will be there. Greenwood is £0. He's our player. Just a phone call. This is just a phone call. Joao Neves is about 80 million. I'm trying to show you how it's not expensive or rocket science to solve this puzzle. Todibo is valued at about 40 million. Is Ditcher. Todibo is valued at about 40 million. A left back, I think we need to buy a left back. Let's stop pretending with Luke Shaw and the other boy, what's in the Malaysia. He is expected to return to training soon, by the way. So the left back, I think a good left back who fits in such a back line can go for about, let's say 40 million as well, tops, but even less, 30 million. Yeah. So what's the total? And then we get a backer. Of course, McTominay is also doubted by that. Don't think McTominay, because he scores goes off the bench, is safe. There is also a doubt about him. He could also be sold. It's possible. So a backup striker for Hojlund could go for about 30 million as well. 30 or 40. Okay, let's say 40. Let me put it on the higher side. But I think it could be about 30 million. But because the transfer markets lately are crazy, I'll put it at 40. Now, how many new signings are those? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 new signings. And what's the total? That is 80 plus 40, 120 plus 40, 160 plus 30, 190. 190 million pounds in the summer. I just want us to do this math together, and we see, because this should be the conversations going on with Omar Berad and whoever comes in as the director of football. Which color should I give this? It needs to be feasible. So this is 190 million. Yeah? To buy these players. Now, how are we getting this 190? Besides us having a good year and making money, there are players we can sell. I spoke about Marcus Rashford. Where is he? Show me Rashford. Where are you? Don't hide. You're being sold. Rashford. Let me even first put these ones aside. So Rashford is 80 million at the very least, but should be more because of the length of his contract. So Rashford 80 million. Yeah. Then we have Casemiro. How much money can we get for Casemiro? I just told you that Saudi, the offer of 70 million euros is still on. But let's be realistic. Let's say we can get 45 million from Casemiro. Let's not be overambitious. Let's say we can get 45 million from Casemiro. Who else? Harry Maguire. I'm looking at players we can sell. Maguire. What's realistic? We bought him for 80. I think we can get 40 million for Maguire. Who else? Martial is not here. Anthony. It is quite likely that Anthony is going to be loaned out instead of being sold. It's quite likely that Anthony will be loaned out. Quite likely that he will be loaned out. So this Varane is leaving for free. Eriksen is going for free. McTominay, there are still question marks. Should he be sold? Should he be kept? But if we are serious, we might have to sell him and make that profit. McTominay can go for 40 million as well. Or 45. Yeah. Now what's the total? 80 plus 40 is 120. Plus 40 is 160. Plus 45. That's 205. Without adding on the money we have from our accounts. This is proper sale of players, and this is possible. Guys, tell me this is rocket science. If they gave you to vend these players, would you fail? From the squad we have, if they told you to raise this money, even if it's to negotiate a bit lower, that's my math. That's my math. Only 4 guys are safe. Clearly, you look, I've just dismantled the squad. Kenny, look at it. Then Ten Hag cannot replace Hojlund with Ahmad. He can't. He can't. There's, of course, we know how he thinks. But me, I just gave you. Ahmad is in my team. What is the ideal for me? In my view, what would be the ideal? But I know that Ten Hag will start Scott. I know that most high chances as Scott will start either as the false 9 or push Bruno to the right and play Scott, fix Scott in the middle. Then Bebe Paul, I'm late for the show web. Who are the guys that will miss tomorrow's match? I think we'll play the video back, Bebe, but of course the obvious one is Hojlund, Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. Kateva Richard, the only player we bought on board is Ahmad for Hojlund, period. Some people agree with me here. Kateva Richard, for number 3, anybody amongst the defenders can play. Put Ahmad in number 7, then Rashford 9, then that is finished. But this stunt of Ten Hag, you will see with his Anthony. I feel like guys could break down the straightforward end if he starts Anthony. Kateva Richard, injuries are due to Man U lacking a coach. We instead have an instructor. 2, we buy wounded players. Interesting stuff. You heard it right there. Heights Studios. But Ten Hag is stubborn. He will start Anthony. That man, we all know him. But you see, guys, I'll just try to look at this squad for tomorrow, but also try to project, show you the holes we have in this team. And I've not included the players who are not starting, the Eriksens of this world. But look at, you realize how we don't have a squad. But the beauty is where we are now. It's easier to go to Saudi and vend these players. We can be bold. It is easier for us to vend these players than it was before in the last summer. Who would you go to telling them you're selling Scott McTominay last summer? Even Saudi would not listen. Even Saudi would never listen. But yeah, for me, that is how I look at it. So, net buys, you can get 200 million at least from selling 4 players, and we need about 200 million or just under to boost this squad. So, that's my take. For me, this 40 million guy, and if we go for the guy I would prefer, he's even less. He's 15 million. Girassi, Sahu Girassi. Is that even the spelling? That's the Stuttgart striker. But Girassi is 15 million. That's his buyout clause. So it's even cheaper, 10 million. So reduce this by 25. That is 75, is it? No, 65. No, 170 million. So, really, we've not even touched our money on the accounts because we made money last year. We made about 100 million more than what we made the same period the year before. So, that is it. That is it. Anes Kavuta, Web, today it seems that you're not in the mood. Why? Why? Because I'm talking slowly. It's because I'm talking while typing. I don't want to make mistakes. I'm going slow. So yeah, that's exactly it. But of course, also not having Hojlund would kill anyone's mood, don't you think? Yeah? Because Hojlund and Maina are the biggest excitements I have as we go into an United game. But that said, my prediction of this game, I would predict anyway. Yeah, whereas it's so risky to predict on Man United lately, I will still predict anyway. I think we are going to beat Fulham by 3-1. I'll go 3-1. My prediction is 3-1. That's my honest prediction. 3-1 for United. Who scores? That's the multi-million dollar question. Who will score the 3? Kobe Maino 1, Garnacho 1, and Bruno. Maino, Garnacho, and Bruno. 3-1 for United. If Ahmad plays, he will also score. So it will be for if Ahmad is given a chance. So that's my prediction of tomorrow's game. You can tell me yours. That's it. I think that's mostly what I want to talk about. Let me see. I think those are most of the things I want to talk about today. Yeah, those are the things I want to talk about today. So you still go for, I think majority of you are for Scott McTominay, I think, starting. Ernest Kavuta is saying Rashford and Garnacho 2-1. Oh, there is Rashford as well. Yeah, I would love Rashford to score because the more he performs well, the more money we shall be able to fetch from PSG by the time we get to the summer. So, good evening, Web, and everyone present. I came a bit late, but thank you, God. I've come with tears due to the rate of injuries. Don't cry. That's football for you, Namutebi. That is our United for you. I don't know. I remember at some point it was said that Ten Hag's methods were full of running. I think he found these players unfit. That's why he had to make them run their feet off or their legs off. But he would make them work so hard that they felt his presence. You know, every manager comes with their own systems. Louis Van Gaal, I was listening to a story from Wayne Rooney talking about how Van Gaal was a very good tactically was so good, but his discipline was such that when the training ends, the players would spend an extra about 4 hours. They would have to eat. He would even organize how they sit. The staff sit alone, defenders sit alone while eating, midfielders alone, da da da. And then when they finish eating, they should also all wait for them. rather wait for him to finish eating his food, and then he would eat slowly like a king, take his time, but you cannot leave before he's done eating. Then after he's done, he wants to talk to four players. Four, maybe he would want to have a meeting with four of the players on the in the team. And then the meetings would go on. They would call them one by one. They would line up to go in his office one after the other. Then he would speak to each one for about 30 minutes. But you don't leave before he leaves. He's the last person to leave meanwhile. So the training ends and you spend an extra 4 hours there. Wayne Rooney was saying, telling that story about Van Gaal. Whereas he was a very good tactician, that alone made players just sort of fall out with him. Now for Ten Hag, when he had just arrived, players were not these lazy United players like we've called them always. Were saying he was making them run. Training was about running and running and running. Really, honestly, even if it were me, if the training is about running, I don't think I would play for you as a manager. I think I wouldn't blame them. But you see, I don't play for Man United. I talk about it. So if you're paid, if I'm unless well, if I'm paid £200,000 per week, I have no option. So that's why these lazy Antones have no excuses. You don't come from Brazil to earn £200,000 per week, and you can't even beat one man. You can't even beat off one man. No, 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 no. That's not right. Katewa Richard, number for number 3, and Budamanga State. I'll be here, I think, in the morning. But also, we'll have a watch along. It will start 45 minutes before kickoff. I don't know what time it will be in your country, but 45 minutes before kickoff, I'll be here with the starting 11 and we build up to the game. Match build up, then we do have a proper watch along for the entire game. We'll be talking about it and watching it together. So don't leave me hanging, guys. I'm counting on you. Don't you leave me hanging, please. I'm counting on you tomorrow for that watch along. Let's enjoy this victory together as we push for top 4. And I believe, without a doubt, we will achieve it. My name is Webb. Thank you. Those who have been late, you can go back and start the video and enjoy it. I'm always here at exactly 11, but tomorrow, because it's a match day, I'll be here earlier for the watch along and the match build up. So just take note of that. Just turn on your notifications so that you know when we are coming on. You should be in the know in time. That's it, guys. Let me see just 1 second. I want to leave. There could be a breaking story. Let me just see. There could be some breaking news as I'm leaving. Let me just see. I have my notifications always on in case of any breaking news. I don't want to miss it. Let me just peep one more time. Pep Guardiola has spoken about Manchester United, by the way. How did I almost forget? Speaking about how, of course, the statements that Sir Jim Ratcliffe made. But guys, honestly, I low-key feel like Pep Guardiola is a bit disturbed by whatever is going on at Man U. The Omar Berada thing did not rub him the right way at all. Even if you read how he speaks in these press conferences lately, you can see that this is either a worried man or he sees. I think the reality is Omar Berada's departure from Man City really shook them. That's the reality. But also they see what we are doing with this Dan Ashworth. When they asked Pep Guardiola about Man U and what's going on, his responses are so personal. You see it. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of he's too deep in his responses that I feel like Sir Jim knew what he was doing in getting Omar Berada. He probably may not even be the best in the world, but just to make that statement, you pull out, weaken your opponent. It's a strategy as well. You weaken your opponent. So he was speaking today, talking about Sir Jim, and he has managed big companies. He knows how to manage organization. Yeah, whatever I said was right. We are here. United was there before. Now it is us. It's the reality. His arrogance and pride. How I wish we can get them off their patch like next season. I can't wait for it to happen. That's what I'm saying. But the thing is, I think whatever Sir Jim is doing is right. It's threatening them. It's causing the impact. It's sending the message because of if you read how these guys are talking. Anyhow, guys, good night. I will see you again tomorrow. You go and rest.